No problem.
Great. Okay. So I'm so happy because it's been I don't know, like a month.
Yeah. Crazy things.
So I've been, I've been looking at your art today. There is some stuff which I really like, some stuff I understand less, and some it's like you published for like Panorama. Panorama is an Italian.
You looked at my photographs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is there other things that you do besides those?
Well, you know the gun work I do, right?
Yeah. But that's on your website, right? Or is it elsewhere too?
The gun work or the photography?
The gun work.
The gun work, I have a lot more on my Instagram. And I usually publish stuff on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
But my Instagram is probably the best place to find my gun work.
Okay.
There's just a little on my website, just because my
there's so much stuff. This is all gun work?
Yeah, all of it, yeah.
Jesus. But this looks so natural, like
realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that okay if I share the screen?
Sure, you can, of course.
Can we? Yeah, I'd like to look at this together because
okay,
it's super awesome actually. Okay. So
no. This is my sorry. You have to go to Gun Brood. This is my just
this one.
Yeah.
Or okay, that makes more sense. Actually.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, this is some testing I've been doing, and it's not really what I want to do, but I still like doing this. And on Instagram, I like showing people what I'm working on, and it doesn't always mean that I'm completely happy with it, or but it's.
So how do you? I'm curious about the process.
Yeah.
So how do you train the model? What you put in it? What kind of work do you do around it? Tell me everything, because this is super cool.
Okay, this is different. Yeah, the first one was I used Midjourney for that. I don't know if you have heard the name. It's an application, and they you completely use their system. So there's the only thing you can do is use prompts. You could also input an image, but then it doesn't use the image as a frame. It only tries to interpret what it sees, and then tries to find something in its latent space, in its library, that comes close. But this particular image was just made by prompting, and then constantly iterating on those outcomes.
Okay, so is there like a paid platform? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you and what was the input here? Did you? Oh, because you didn't. Oh, you didn't. Because normally when you should put the input though, because in DALL-E it's very nice to see what the model does, because it's. Because they also show the prompt and
that's true. But the thing is, I see myself a little bit as a magician. I don't want to give too much away of exactly what I do. Sometimes I combine different guns, different systems, different models, and also the prompting is quite. I think it's quite private in some ways.
Oh, okay.
So,
but okay, I'm curious now. You have me. Tell me this thing about you being a magician. I love this. Okay, I know. I mean, you're a photographer and an artist. Would you call yourself a new media artist, or?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. You could call it that. But
okay.
For me, these media are not very new anymore. It's. I know people talk about it like that, but for me, it's I've been doing CG animation and special effects compositing and that kind of stuff since the 90s, which was another millennium, you know. So
yeah, exactly. It was like 100 years ago, roughly.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it was more than 30 years ago that
yeah, but in terms of like deep learning and how things are evolving, it's like a million years ago. Like 3 years ago is old.
Yes, that's true. That's true. And I've been working with guns and deep learning and that kind of stuff for about 3.5 years now, I think.
Okay. Can you code?
Sorry?
Can you code? Do you code? Do you code? I mean, do you?
No.
You use systems that implement guns.
Yeah. I just use what I can, and I try to hack or to not hacking in a code sense, but to just get the best out of any system, and especially combinations of systems.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes if you just use a program the way it's intended, mm-hmm. You get the same stuff that everybody else does. But if you find the little loopholes and the little tricks where you combine different software with each other, you can sometimes get really good results.
Okay, but can you talk a little bit about the magic? Because I like so you see yourself as a musician, yeah, because I think that how I don't know, like it's very interesting to like. Okay, I write poems, for example, and I write in general. I do a bunch of creative things. I meditate and I do it creatively. I teach and I do it creatively. But if you were to ask me, like, how do I represent myself when I do these things? I think that's like the interesting part, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was piqued by what you just said. Like, okay, you're a photographer, you're an artist, but you're really a magician. And so what's like is this something that just came out? Is it something that you purposely like you thought about it and like how
magic?
yeah, because I think it's beautiful to look at.
Well, the thing is, I have been doing all my life. I have done different things, but everything was about visual storytelling, mm-hmm. and also technique played a very important role in everything. That started. I was a photographer for about 14 years. I kind of left that behind now.
Okay.
But I was a professional photographer, and I'm also using my own photography. Sometimes I don't, but I use a lot of my photography in my gun work.
Oh, so to train them, to fine tune the models?
No. But
or to like overlap.
You can use something that's called projection. Uh-huh. So already a trained model, let's say a model is trained on faces, mm-hmm. And then you just upload your image and it will use that image as a starting point, combined with what it has learned during its training on other images, on photographs, on art, on different things.
Okay. So, but you have like a theoretical understanding of deep learning. I'm perceiving. Is that correct? I mean, there is some. I mean, you sort of know what's happening.
I try to
right.
I try to approach it in a purely intuitive way. Uh-huh. There's even some parts of this process that I probably don't want to understand even. Because
why?
Well, I have found that everything that I do in this field that I approach rationally, uh-huh. Kind of doesn't lead me anywhere. And I've always wanted to be an artist, but as soon as I tried learning how to draw, I think I was talented. I had it came quite easy for me to draw. But I didn't like doing it because my brain would take over, and I was just seeing everything that wasn't right.
Oh, so you got hypercritical. about your work.
Yeah, very,
you
very
become
critical.
like a super self-aware of.
Yes.
Okay, so that hindered the creation. Yeah, I mean, self-awareness is basically the nemesis of creativity, I think.
Yeah. Right? So when I found and I wanted to learn photography when I was young, and I played around with film rolls, and I really didn't like it, because to learn this I had to write everything down. I had to do a very rational approach.
And you don't like that?
And I really didn't like it. And then I think it was about a little over 20 years ago, the first digital cameras came, and I was already a Photoshop expert at that time. So for me, learning how to use a camera was just like clicking a button almost. And then I found that by being a photographer, I could work much more intuitively than I have ever done.
Intuitively,
yeah.
You can like having like a direct relationship.
Feel instead of think.
Okay, but does ever think come into play? Because, for instance, I don't know, if I want to write something, I spit it out literally. I can try to write something as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
I can write around 800 words in like 30 minutes if I want.
Yeah.
With the handwritten stuff. Okay, so I give myself a prompt, and then I like write super fast. And that's a moment in which thinking doesn't come into play, because the moment so I don't care about typos, structure, grammar.
Yeah.
Like I don't care about anything. I just write those words. But then thinking for me comes into place like later, because of course when I'm finished with that, I don't have a finished piece. I have a draft, an idea that then I have to go and start moving things around, even rewrite the whole thing sometimes. But I've gotten, by doing that exercise before, I get rid of the first block, which is the beginning. So, but that's me. So thinking for me takes place takes place later, because I have to fix. Otherwise, people read, they don't understand what they read. Is there like what's your creative process, so to speak? How do you do it? Is there any place where thinking comes into place, or?
Yeah, of course there is, but still, it's almost that I don't even want to talk about how I do this.
Okay.
Because that is also a very rational description of but
okay.
In general, I just start and just start trying things, and then start to. The thing with these, I don't know if you ever worked with latent space and with imagery or
not imagery, like text I've done.
Yeah. Well, after a certain while, you kind of develop a feeling of what the network is capable of.
Okay.
And it is the funny thing is it's not perfect. It can do some things a lot better than you think it can. But some things are quite crippled and come out really strange and bad.
Yeah.
And you slowly start to get a feeling of where this is. It's like you meet like having a cat or a dog. It's some kind of sentient being and intelligence, but it's a different entity, a different species. Yes. And the only thing you can use, well, the best thing you can use to be friends with a dog or a cat is to use your intuition.
Okay, I agree with that.
And you can also read a lot of books. Yeah, a dog will like this and a dog will like that. But on a personal level, it's also the same with friendships and romances.
Yeah.
That you really need an intuitive approach, I think. And that's what I really like about working with guns and with diffusion now. It's because the latest techniques are not called guns anymore because it's a technical thing, but they look quite the same.
Okay. Wow. So okay. So do you have this kind of relationship? Because I often think as neural nets as a sort of like something similar to an animal or something. So there is an entity there, which we construct. We construct it, whatever. But that's I don't care about this. It's the fact that there is something there that is that's processing information the same way I do it. You do it. Everything around processes information basically, and produces something. So do you? And I often thought about this kind of entities as some sort of pets, as something that is other than you, and other animals rather than just pets, because maybe it's not a pet, it's just another entity.
Alien.
Somehow alien, but then on the other end, I think it shares very fundamental things about. It shares some fundamental things with you, which is information. For example, the fact that it runs with through information, on information, is made of information as we are. So I find this like very interesting what you just said. But do you? I don't know, like when you get results you don't like, do you get angry with the app? Do you? Because for example, with my dog, when
I could get a little frustrated and a little sad, but I don't get angry.
You don't curse.
I don't see it as something that is not doing what I want. It's more that I constantly try to find, because I know I'm working with something that it has a lot of flaws, but I'm trying to find the most interesting flaws and try to exploit those. And another analogy next to the pet analogy is like you're building a map of something. You're in a dark forest, and if you walk through for an hour, you don't know anything. But if you keep coming back there after every day, you walk there for a few hours. After a while, you develop this mental map of what the place is like. And that's a very, very intuitive thing. But I mean, you could get some paper and then but if it's a complicated forest and all the trees look alike, a piece of paper doesn't work for you. You can't really draw a map if there's no really clear.
I love it. I love it. Okay.
But the funny thing is that these neural networks, they work a little bit the same, because they are fed a lot of information and then they develop this map of and what I really like is, but you know, you played a pinball machine years ago, and
I was around, I admit.
Yeah, but if you get really good at it, you become one with the machine. You become one with the system. And there is the kind of, and that's what I'm trying to do with this.
So you're trying to become one with your tools, with machines.
Yeah.
But how do you envision them? Because a lot of us think about AI as a tool. Do you have a different word for that, or? Because tool is okay, but if we're talking about some sort of sentience, I don't think that it captures enough the word. So
I don't really believe that I'm working with a sentient being, but it's a nice way to look at it like that. Or if I'm not even sure if, I mean, philosophically seen, if I'm talking to you, I'm not even sure if you are, you know, that
exactly. Exactly. So am I conscious?
Yeah.
Can you prove I exist Can you prove
exactly.
I'm conscious? Can you prove I'm really here? And
I believe this, but I have no definite proof of that. So yeah.
There is zero. So there is we have zero. So for example, I don't know if you're following some of the conversation that is taking place when it comes to, artificial general intelligence and how it's going to be built, if it's going to be built, and is it going to be a tool that we're going to use?
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be like a conscious thing that it's going to do its own thing? Is it going to destroy us or anything? So the thing that I'm hearing many times is that, okay, a problem is that these things are definitely not conscious. It's never going to become conscious. And I'm like, on the other end, and then I think, okay, but how do we know?
We don't, and we probably never will.
We can, because there is no, because philosophically, it's, if you're really being rigorous with thinking, which is something that not a lot of people can do, but if you're really being rigorous, nothing that you experience in any way can be proven to be existing,
of course,
except the sense of self-perception that you have about yourself.
Yeah,
that's the only one thing that you can be sure about, that I here am or exist. Maybe not necessarily they're synonym, but we could think for now that they are, right?
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that I can be sure. But
it's Descartes, right? I think so.
Therefore I am. It was from St. Augustine, actually. He stole it, but it's true because it was I doubt, therefore I am. He used to say, St. Augustine, because he was trying to give a definition of what is the philosophical investigation at its root, right? So anyway, so I think there it's I feel. Therefore I am. I think. Therefore I am. It can be many things before the therefore, but the sense of self-perception and self-awareness that you can be sure of. But the colors you see, the shapes you see, anything you interact with, smells, everything is basically could be faked. Your brain, as a matter of fact, could be hanging in a. Or mine, be hanging in a jar with wires coming out. Like we can go as wild as you can.
Also, what I've always found very intriguing is that sometimes you have these dreams, and I sometimes ask myself in a dream, am I dreaming or is this real?
Can you do that?
Sometimes.
Wow.
And when you know that you're dreaming and you can even steer your dream, that they call that lucid dreaming.
Lucid dreaming.
Yeah, but I have only experienced this maybe twice or three times in my life. It's great when it works, but usually when I ask myself this question in my dream, I go like, I'm not dreaming. This is real. So if I don't know that it's if I'm dreaming and I don't know that I am dreaming, I can never say for sure that I'm not dreaming now.
Exactly. And as a matter of fact...
And still you think you do.
And as a matter of fact, this is a dream, because the particles of the world that we experience of each object, they're actually moving. Atoms or even like the quantum level, everything is basically moving and everything is basically empty, actually, because there is a lot of space between the nucleus of an atom and the first. It's been I read somewhere that the distance between the first electron of a nucleus and its nucleus, there is the same space between these two entities, particles, in proportion. Then there is in the cupola of St. Peter, from the center to the ray. Okay. So imagine how big is it, okay? So imagine, take the center, take the ray of the cupola of St. Peter. It's massive, right? So there is the same kind of space in proportion. So atoms are basically empty. We don't see any of this. colors don't exist, do they?
No.
Smells, like everything, it's brain built or mind built, depending on, you know, are you a scientist, are you like a spiritual person? So it's I don't know, it's quite a thing. So but let me ask you something. So do you want to talk a little bit about your art a little bit more?
Yeah, sure.
A couple of things, because there is nothing better than talk about the art with the artist.
Okay. So the one in the middle is this is I completely stand behind this one.
Okay. What does it mean?
Although Instagram, it's much longer than this, and Instagram kind of cut it off, but it's that's not a big problem. This one is called Entre Chien et Loup. Between dog and wolf. Forget this one. I love it, and it's more that I.
She's beautiful though. She's very sensual, I think. Yeah. I mean, the mouth is a little off. Okay, I understand, but
well, the funny thing, these models, these gun models, or diffusion as it is, they're not great at photorealistic humans. You've seen that the other stuff that I've made in StyleGAN, like the Jesus I did, they look quite. You have to go down a lot.
Is she Medusa? You know, it reminds me of Klimt.
No. You know, but I love to play with mythology.
Looks like Klimt. Medusa. What's her name?
Yeah, there's a little bit of mucha in here. I think. Yeah. These the thing about Art Nouveau Jugendstil is that it's it was a period in art where people suddenly were allowed to do a lot more with their inner fantasies and their so art was suddenly very it was also very much influenced by Asian art. Like a lot of things happened at that time. I think also the opening of the tomb of Tutankhamun was big news, and so art was heavily influenced by old classical Egyptian art, but also the Japanese art, Chinese art. But the thing I wanted to say is what's so interesting is the way Art Nouveau allowed artists to be more abstract and surreal suddenly. So even before the movement of abstract art, Jugendstil has a lot of abstractism, and these guns are very good at flowing from completely figurative to abstract.
Which is a very I see, and I really appreciate the power of this. I just I'm not specialist, so I talk as a user, as a spectator, basically, of these things. I'm not talking about your piece, but generally when I watch animations that involve gun, for example, it's like I don't think that aesthetically it's beautiful and interesting and elaborate enough as it should be. I think it's still on a very like experimental kind of phase, but I've rarely ever seen something that created that kind of artistic experience when you're witnessing a masterpiece, for example.
Okay.
The kind of aesthetic arrest, arrest, like there is this expression that I like a lot, like aesthetic arrest, that you go like, you know, So when I look at the GAN generated art, this is, I mean, I wouldn't be able to say that this is GAN generated, for example. This could be a work of a painter for me. And I like it. It's just, are you familiar with the kind of things I'm trying to say? Like those very wild things that you see, like many colors. Let me see. I can give an example, perhaps. Hold on. Hold on. Yes, I think I can give an example. Yeah, like this stuff. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think it's also, it's GAN too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like these things, it's interesting. I like it. But does this take me to...
No, of course not.
Heaven?
This is a gimmick.
Does this give me like the state of grace that I experience sometimes when I look at something? I'm not talking about state of grace as in something necessarily super beautiful. I'm talking like that thing that says, okay, like I'm capturing you, and I'm
really should art should touch you inside and should resonate with your core being and strike you in the heart. And of course, this stuff is just technical tricks that look funny and weird. Yeah. And of course. But the thing is, I'm pretty sure that it is already possible to. And please, could you go down a little?
This is beautiful, by the way. I like this too.
Yeah, but it's I find this a kind of kitsch that I like. Okay, so down.
See?
Yeah, I kind of like.
These are devils?
Sorry?
These are devils?
Yeah, they're demon-like. Yeah.
Creatures. Can I?
Yeah, you can click it. It's all.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
And this also was with a prompt?
Yes, but with a prompt and with a starting image as well.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. But if you can go down.
Tell me when to stop, okay?
Yeah. Stop. Yeah. Now little back. A little back. Yeah. Those two. No, down. Yeah.
Here?
No, next to it. Yeah, that one. For yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I saw this. This is on your website too.
Yeah, this is.
This is very beautiful, actually.
This is kind of what I'm aiming for. It actually is a photograph I made. And what I really like about as a photographer or as an ex-photographer, I really like the way photography is used, and we're beyond photography now. So I used a photograph for this. I used it on a gun that has been trained on other photography. But it also has been trained on painting, and so it all flows together. It all the line is very unclear, and photography has always been for people has been a way to. I mean, it kind of always has been realism for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, as a photographer, you learn you can express yourself in many ways, and the reality is not such a big thing anymore. And I think I've taken this a step further. And so I call it post photography, which I didn't make up because it's an already existing phrase. But it's everything that can be done with photography that's not photography anymore, because it's a step away, a step further, a step beyond.
So let me ask you something. Okay, so studying art, like studying a little bit of art, a little bit of theory of art, I really studied, not like history. Tell me when you have to go, okay? So that
Sure.
Hold you for too long.
Sure.
So studying a little bit of theory of art, I learned that the idea that the artist was free, the free lone genius capable of doing anything, it's bullshit. Because during history, until I think 1900, artists had very specific laws, principles to abide. They needed to be somehow realistic. They needed to portray beauty. Mm-hmm. They were how would you call it? They were somehow strapped onto some things that they had to do. All right. Yeah. But then over time, the chains that were, holding the artists, like started to break all of them. So all of a sudden, you don't have to deal anymore with beauty. You don't have to deal anymore with the sacred. You don't have to deal anymore with the with beauty, with the sacred, with truth, with God. Then you don't have to deal anymore with the. And then all of a sudden, you don't have to deal anymore with creation. Duchamp, who takes urinary and puts a signature on it and sells it for I don't know how much. And so for me, like from that moment on, that really marks something which I find beautiful for art, and which is that art doesn't have to do anything but being art. So I don't know, does this make any sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. I think as the devil's advocate, I think that artists are still very much tied to the community, because you can make very interesting art, but if it doesn't fit in the time that you're living, nobody will see it, and they will throw it away when you die. So you're of course you're still the most successful artists. They make something that is maybe people don't know that they want it yet, but they can only make something that is wanted at that time. And that I don't believe that if let's say I would be able to make the art that is made in 100 years from now, nobody would recognize it as good. Nobody would see it, and because it's you can only place it in the context of society and of the culture that is living now. Okay, that's the only way that you can, because art is always
contextual.
Sorry, no. Art is always a reflection. It should always resonate with our lives, and not with the lives of people 1,000 years ago. If it's not the same kind of things, and also not with the lives of people that live 100 years from now.
All right. So you're trying to say that the art is free, but not absolutely free.
Yeah.
Because it needs to some extent meet. I don't want to use the word conform, but adjust, align.
No. But conforming is, and that's the paradox, because the feeling is still that a true artist doesn't conform and is anti-conformist. But of course, so the good artist is has a scale and does a little bit of conformation and a little bit of non-comfort, conforming to and just enough of one and the other. Otherwise it won't work, and it won't sell, and people won't watch it, won't think it's beautiful or interesting, or so yeah.
So do artists intercept what it's about to? Because a good artist, really, like an exceptional artist, sees something that is about to come and puts himself over there, is like more of an explorer, a pioneer, right? Because it's
that's what I think.
Yeah, so it's about capable of seeing something that it's about to come and captures it as the first person, basically. Maybe first is not the
but I think the most interesting artist is how you call that, a conquistador. What's the name for conquistador? Is so aggressive. How did you call people?
Pioneer,
explorer. Yeah.
Like a conquistador sounds not politically correct here.
No.
You know? but I understand. I mean,
yeah. But personally, I think that most people that call themselves artists are still doing something that has already been done and just trying to learn the trick. And I think a lot of art schools are teaching kids to be like other artists. And I think still the largest part of what should be interesting is that you find something in yourself and find something in the world that you find interesting, and it should be in a way something original, and then the resonation of something in you and something out of you, that's something that you want to describe or
Can you teach originality in school?
Can you teach what?
Or to be original, to be creative? Is this something that you think can be harnessed?
No, you can. I think you can stimulate it if you see it, and you can tell young people or old people even. You can, if you can cultivate or culture something that is already there, and you can point them at this. What you do is not interesting, and this what you do is very interesting, and you can push them the right way, maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, of course, you need the talent, and you can learn anyone tricks. You can learn anyone to play the piano, but you can't learn anyone to be original in that. No.
Because nobody really knows what it is to be original. Because to be original, you need to be a little bit out and a little bit here, right?
Yeah.
So am I right in this? Because you sort of have your head out, but if your head is too out, people will not understand what you're doing.
Exactly. So it's all a matter of balance. So you know the phrase "the opposite attracts." That always fascinated me, because when I grew up and people said, well, you will find someone, you fall in love with her, and then I was always thinking, okay, this should be something that is really not me, because the opposite attracts. And but I was hardly ever attracted by opposites, and then I started thinking about what this really meant. And I think that for you to connect to someone or something, you need to be very much alike and just a little bit different to keep it interesting. But in fact, we're all looking for ourselves in the world around us, I think.
Okay. And connection is established among those who can recognize themselves as similar enough, but not equal, because otherwise you have interest in being attracted.
Yeah, I think there should be more similarity. Otherwise, it won't work. And it's the same thing with art. The art that you make should be recognizable for people, but at the same time should be enough different to make it interesting, and that kind of, so it's more like that balance that you need to find in everything that makes you interesting as an artist, that you do either one or the other way. If you, the last one was is a homage. It's like a pastiche to.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it
reminded me of the.
I usually don't do this. Yeah. That's.
Is Degas who made it? I don't remember.
Yeah. No, it's Picasso. It's
Picasso. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Madame Zuel, Madame Zuel, the Avignon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. He called it himself. He just called it his brothel.
And there's a lot about Picasso.
And of course, at that time, art galleries really didn't like that, so they just gave it a different name than the artist intended.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And yeah.
That's how we called it, the brothel of Avignon.
Yeah. My brothel. me, mon bordel, mi bordella, bordello. He talked a lot of French because he was in France.
This is like something between a space explorer and some sort of meditating Buddha, to me at least.
Yeah.
And the gold makes me think about meditation and the Buddha, and also the posture, I suppose. But also there's this looks like an helmet to me at first sight. So this is also like some sort of like space explorer. I see a lot of photos lately of space explorers like lying down on a grass, or like I see them on Splash sometimes. Like I go like pick photos.
Yeah.
So
the thing is, the astronauts and cosmonauts are overly used in digital art and comic art and NFT art, crypto art, and I still like to use them. Because the space explorer is such a great metaphor for what we are doing with these systems and exploring and.
Can you say more?
Huh? Can
you say more?
Yeah.
No, this is interesting for me. Can you? I will interrupt you at some point because I want to be part of the conversation too. But would you like open a little bit more your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, just a human in a spacesuit at the far end of the universe is such a strong metaphor for anything that the human mind can do and endeavor and I think some of the biggest achievements that we make in our own minds, but still just a metaphor of someone in a spacesuit is I think is great. And also the loneliness in that kind of you're all alone in a maybe a hostile environment, but it doesn't have to be hostile. It can be just too strange to like when you grow up as a kid, you know, when everything is new around you, when everything is unknown, and the bravery that you must have to encounter this and to and I can tell you what this is. This is a photograph of I used a classical photograph for this. It's one of the assassins of or people in the conspiracy of the assassination of Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln. And it's if you find it, it's a beautiful photograph, and it's almost like it has been made 10 years ago, but it was made more than 100 years ago. And I don't know, his name is Louis Payne, but he had many aliases. Mm-hmm. And they photographed this guy just a couple of weeks before they hung him to death. And they executed a bunch of people that were in this conspiracy of assassinating Lincoln. and it's just a guy just sitting, and it's one of the most beautiful portraits I know, because it's not. You know, everybody has a camera now, and everybody knows a good photographer, and
everybody's a photographer now.
Everybody's a photographer, or everybody knows a good photographer, or so it's very easy to make a portrait of someone, but it's all very very gratuit, you know, very
Sure.
And the original photograph of this one. I don't know if I can bring it up now, or anyway, I can send you the link later. But
sure, no worries.
Yeah, see if we're.
I mean, if you want, I can allow you to share.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go. You can share if you want that. Sharing is caring.
Okay. Let me see, because I have two screens, so I don't really know. So I share my screen.
Here we go.
Do you see it?
Sure. Oh, wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah. Okay. So. And it's almost like it was from a Hollywood movie.
Exactly. So it looks like an actor.
Yeah, but this guy.
This is the actual person who's about to be executed, right?
Yeah.
Wow, looks like it's so dramatic. Looks like a film, a movie.
Yeah. So this has always been a special photograph for me, because it's. Well, the thing, what I just said, you can take so many pictures, but most of them are posed, and this is just, this guy knows he's about to die, and he's. So sometimes I just take something like this and then completely redo it, and these two examples, the Picasso and this one, I usually take my own photographs, but sometimes I take something that I find.
This is so beautiful. So could you? So I'm interested in something like. Could you look at this photo and just flow with your thoughts when you see it? What do you see? Like your emotions, not even your thoughts. I'm curious about the way you feel, because this is something that it's particularly important for you, right? So
yeah.
Could you say something about your feelings? Your what do you see? Because when you look at a photo, you don't see what I see, because your eyes are not mine. Like, you have very trained eyes, which I don't. So what are the things that happen inside, if you want or not?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, this guy is obviously very, very much. He's probably very lonely in his thoughts, and in his. He knows that his life is going to end, and maybe he's thinking about the things that happened, or maybe he's thinking about the things that he will miss in life, but that kind of pure. Being completely with yourself, and the loneliness that brings you, but also the fact that you have to just carry a burden, or I don't know. It's just for me. It's very. It just resonates. You know. It's
Wow.
I think there's just many times that you have had feelings that are exaggerated, of course, in this photograph, because that's why it hits you. It's not the subtleties, and
Bruce Powell. I really love it. I love this photo, actually. So it's fantastic, Lewis Spain. Because I'm trying to see this on my screen too, to like get a better sense.
I just.
Yeah, it's so dramatic. It's true.
Yeah.
He doesn't. I don't even know if he knows that it's sad. I don't think he's sad. Maybe he's over it.
Yeah, that's also possible, of course.
And the light that there is in his eyes, maybe it's the flash.
Yeah, it's probably on the deck of a ship.
I see.
He's on the ship.
But he also gives the impression of being, I mean, if like this part of the face looks quite relaxed, but this part not too much, because it looks like he's curving his eyebrows a little bit. Yeah, but he's very good looking.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? Is that me?
No, that's true. It's just
guy.
I've seen other photographs where he looks less handsome, but
okay.
The thing is, yeah, that makes it also weird, because if you see a photograph of somebody from 100 years ago, they usually look like very malnourished and just normal people. Don't look like movie stars, you know. This guy looks like a Johnny Depp or a Brad Pitt.
James Dean. Yeah. Here you go. Like James Dean, yeah.
James Dean, yeah, that's yeah.
This is so cool, my God.
And what I really like about this, and what I, as a photographer, also try to do is documentary and reportage photography always is, well, it usually looks very realistic. We have in our heads, we have this, we make this division between what is realistic and what is fantasy. And what I like to do in my work, but always have been trying to do, is to blur that line. So my photography, my best photography, kind of looks like it's staged and like it's not real. And I also try to make things with computer graphics, or with special effects, or with models, or now with these guns that look like they're have some kind of realism, but they're completely fake, completely synthetic images.
Okay, can I ask you something? Could you like bring us back? Because I
I think this is it.
Yeah. So one of my main interests right now is computational creativity and the human creativity, right? And so how basically the machine and the human meet in this space, which is the more I think about it, the more I meditate about it, think, elaborate, write about it, and I think creativity is really like the basic energy of the universe. Though we think we confound creativity with to generate and make, and it's actually I think it's a double process actually. When you create something, you generate, which means you do something or make something that didn't exist before, but you also destroy something else. So there is generation and destruction within every creative process, I think. And the most banal, like a commonplace idea is when you have your sculpture, there is a block of marble. When you create a sculpture, you remove the excess of marble basically, and you create a sculpture. But so to make your sculpture, you destroy the previous form of the block. So, but this is I digressed. Okay, so I was curious to hear, like, what is your take? What is your if you have a thought, if you have impressions on what is happening right now in this medium point between humans and machines, and and if you can jam on it, like anything that comes to your mind, really, because I'm trying to pick on people's brain. I mean, you work, have a lot of
what I find absolutely fascinating is I'm in my work. I'm questioning these machines if they could be creative in a way, if they could produce something that we regard as art, even curated by us or uncurated. So I'm trying to see if this is possible, and then I ask myself the question: are computers capable of creativity, and is that because we have built them this way? Or maybe the laws of nature and the mathematics and the physics, maybe it's just because everything works this way. Maybe creativity is not something that is solely human, but maybe physics and mathematics have this, and nature has it everywhere, and that's why everything resonates with us, and that's why art is for me is. I was always fascinated by the word art. Why is it so close to the word artificial? Why do you say? And it's the same in my language.
Same root. It's the same word.
Yes.
Art and art are exactly the same. So artificial means made by art, like through art. Yeah, but maybe purposefully. This is what artificial means.
So it's of course a Latin has a Latin.
Yeah, it's a Latin. I mean, at least in this regard, yes.
Yeah, and I'm very.
You know what's the Greek? Sorry, I don't want to interrupt. Sorry. Do you know what's the Greek of this?
No.
Of art?
No.
Techne.
Yeah.
All right. So technology, that makes it even the science of art.
Yeah, that it makes literally. It even So that makes it even more interesting that our forefathers they probably thought that the same thing, that the technique and art was very similar, and also that art and fake or synthetic was very similar. And I always have tried, many people have tried to explain what their sense of art was, and I have always tried to, the theory of everything in physics. Yeah,
I mean, we don't have it yet. But
but they're always looking for something, because they say, well, if this is true and this is true, then there must be something in the middle that is true, and we need to find that connection. So I have always tried to bring the semantics of art and artificiality. Try to find this theory that overlaps what my sense of art is, and the thing is, we art imitates life. We like to imitate our own life, and when something is art, then it's a successful attempt to synthesize something that we know in our lives, and it can be it can be just an emotion, or it can be a feeling, or but it can also be like a human face. So good art is always recognized as an original attempt to synthesize parts of our life, and that's why imitation of art is not art. If you try to redo an artwork of somebody else, then there's one step too much, and then we call that kitsch, or we call that
exactly. Unless you do it in such a spectacular way.
Exactly, because
because I'm thinking about cover of songs that sometimes I like even more than the original. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes I like the cover because they are capable of just get that basic feeling and an emotion and just like rephrase it in a completely, or when they translate you know, a tune from a genre to another, for example, like those things normally blow my mind. But so
sorry, I was one thing I want to finish, because that's very much in what I'm constantly contemplating. Okay, so everything is so maybe the question is creativity in everything, and is it in these guns because we put it in there, or is it just because it's the law of nature and we just we couldn't make anything else? Because and then the next question is, how creative are we? Because creativity has always been seen as something strictly human, and I think if we can make machines that at one point we can't see the difference anymore. I can make things and I can show it to someone, and somebody says that's very creative, that's art. That's like a Turing test for artificial AI art, right? If people.
Okay, I mean, you really nailed it here. All right, so can we? Thank you. Really, no, thank you for the things you're saying, because it's this is the first time. I mean, I'm new to this space, so there is not a lot that I know, right? But this is the first time that I've heard vocalized in an outer space by another entity, which I assume it exists.
Yeah.
My thoughts about this, because, for example, when you say is creativity everywhere, is it just the inner structure of existence?
Yeah.
Is creativity the inner structure of existence? And it's not something that just belongs to us, because it makes no sense, I think, to think that. But anyway, and so maybe we are making creative machines because, matter of fact, we don't know what else to do, because we only do it this way, because we just are transferring what we are and which is creative beings along with everything else into machines. But there was another thing that I wanted to tell you. Okay, so there were a couple of things I wanted to say. You say art imitates life, but life is artistic in itself, right? Because a dear friend of mine, for example, he says, and even I have the same kind of experience. When I see a beautiful sunset, stars, planets, mountains, trees, and there is Henry Miller that says, even an ordinary blade of grass, if given our complete unvarnished attention, becomes a miraculous, incomprehensible, glistening object of beauty, an infinite thing in itself. All right. So so art imitates life, but is maybe art imitating art, life imitating life? Could we do? What's your take on this?
I think there's because we I think everything is less complex than we think it is. I think we are our limited intelligence just doesn't see how if you just have a few simple combinations, you can create so many outcomes. If you just and you see that in mathematics, and you see that in computer code, and you just have a few bytes. And you can make these really interesting things. And I think that the blade of grass or the planets or everything, that they share these patterns.
Share the structures
and patterns and And I think we are completely built by these same patterns in a way. Our bodies are, but also our minds are in a way. And this resonation that we constantly see things that that are the same as we are. That kind of creates something that you could call well, you could in the end you could call it even love, but it's like when something resonates with you, it touches you, and you think, oh, this is so what I was saying about the creativity, I've always been interested in. I'm not so convinced that we have a free will as humans. I'm.
Don't think we do. Please.
So, but we're just. I think we're just. But the big question for me is, where does the consciousness come from? Why is it there? Why do I feel that I am, and why is that? And if you don't believe if you believe in kind of a predetermined universe, but also predetermined people without, then it will be very difficult to ignore the fact that anything as complex as a human being could have some form of consciousness.
Okay.
Because I think personally that the consciousness might be something that just originates in the fact that we're such a complex structure, system.
So you think consciousness is a product of a complexity, basically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, but it's a question that I have been asking for a long time, and
I don't know. I mean, is a fish complex enough to have a consciousness? Sure. So how? Because I think, to be honest, and to answer you about that things are like to comment on the fact that things are maybe like a little more easy than we think they are. I honestly think that words like creativity or consciousness or intelligence, which are three words highly hyped and mysticized to the point that people think that these are these crazy things that we lack a definition. And I feel like, okay, can we just like tone it down and just reach very basic and easy definition of these things so that we can work with them? Because the peril of mystifying terms and ideas is that then maybe you put them out there and you don't know what to do with them anymore. You cannot do anything with them anymore. So for instance, consciousness, all right, it's a very complex matter. Physicists, philosophers, everybody. But the way I see it, all right, is for example, okay, and maybe tell me if you have another thought about this. So what is consciousness? I'm like, okay, rather than what is consciousness, how about I think about what exhibits consciousness, all right? And then I'm thinking, okay, let me give an example. So I exhibit consciousness when I show that I'm aware that I'm here. For instance, a car is coming against me and I move. Why? Because I don't want the car to hit me. By doing this gesture, simple gesture, I give off the idea that I know that I'm here and that something is coming, all right? Now, if we take this example and we generalize it and extrapolate, so consciousness is a reaction that shows awareness of being there. Mm-hmm. Right? Can we use this? Okay. Yeah. So then I'm thinking, all right, but what happens every time I try to touch something? Well, every time I touch something, electrons in my hands and in the other hand, in the other part, basically repel themselves always, right? Because, you know, we cannot touch anything because electrons cannot meet, because the same charge repel, right? So when I'm touching something like an object, the object from soft, because everything is soft and moving, becomes hard because the energy within the structure like intensifies and reacts. So which then allows me to touch it. So, but by reacting every piece of thing that I touch, to me, it's exhibiting the same awareness, consciousness that I exhibit when I get out of a car that it's coming. The difference is that I'm capable of saying I, and I'm capable of saying, you know, my name is Antonio, and I studied this and one and so on. And maybe a table cannot do that. So to me, consciousness, like creativity, is exhibited pretty much everywhere, because every time you enter in a relationship with anything, there is some sort of reaction of the thing that you're coming to contact with, and the presence of language, it's just like a. So the process is, how can I say? The process is so consciousness I see as like a continuous thing. So you have less and more. So, but maybe it's everywhere. I don't know. Did I make any sense with this? Because it's
it makes sense. Yeah, sure.
And so, for example, since you were talking about creativity, do you have like a basic definition of creativity that you use to that allows you to say this is creative, this is not creative?
Oh no, it's a completely mystery to me, especially because now I have seen what these systems can produce in such a short time. And the thing is, I have been looking at art all my life, and I've been doing different things that you could classify as art. And I think I have taste. I think I have an eye for what is interesting or beautiful or fascinating, or and then in just a few years time with these systems, I kind of doubt that what I've always been putting on a pedestal is maybe not so magic at all, and maybe it's just a complexity. And for me, I constantly feel the passion and the love and the fascination with things that I use a machine to produce, and it's not very unlike that, like a lot of art that I've seen that touches me. It's not very different to me, and that's why I say maybe we built these machines just like we are, and that's the next question, maybe we are much more like machines than we think we are. Maybe we're just like I'm not saying somebody built us, because I'm very I don't really think that I'm not religious. I'm not so the most interesting thing for me is that maybe we are much more like these systems than we ever thought imaginable, you know.
I agree with I think I agree with everything you say. So which is worrisome, to be honest. But let me ask you something. So you've been following a little bit what's happening with DALL-E, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So is that the Turing test for creativity? Because some of the things I see are so beautiful.
Well, the thing with DALL-E is I've seen many systems and many different outputs. And DALL-E is, I think that it's much more trained towards producing credible stock photography and stock illustrations. And so for me personally, most of the stuff that I see kind of lacks the interestingness that I see in something like Midjourney or I think the new Google thing, because Google is now just presented their
striking back like
So they have
the Empire Strikes Back. It's like how dare you?
From my point of view, it already looks better than DALL-E, which was presented, I don't know, 3 weeks ago or maybe a month. It follows up each other very rapidly, and it just goes so fast. Every few weeks, there's another AI system that is.
But okay, but let me ask you something. Like, for example, do you ever do this exercise with the with machine generated artworks? Okay, when I look at something, I always try to shut down the awareness that a machine did that, because I think that fucks up our relationship with what we're watching, because it gives us a bias. So sometimes I do an exercise. I lead a seminar, an art seminar on new media art. And you should come if you want one day.
Sure.
Do this on Friday. You present your art like we do what we're doing here, but there would be like 6-7 people, very smart. I can send you like a link and you can come if you.
Sure. No, I'd love to.
Because we have a lot of fun. But anyway, like I try sometimes to trick people there, and I show things, and I say, okay, do you like it? And they go like, yes, machine or man? And when they say, yes, I like it, they tend to say men. So, and to me, this is like some sort of negative bias that we have towards. So when I look at things from DALL-E, because you said it looks like a cool stock photography kind of.
Well, not always cool. Sometimes it just looks like very Microsoft, very.
Okay, but there are things that I find, I don't know, endearing. Like, okay, let me share a couple of things. I actually like it. Like, look at this.
Yeah.
It's so sweet. Portrait of Shiba Inu Astra, oil painting, 16th century. Like, and the people who are writing these things are geniuses, by the way. But there was a. Let me see. Look at this. Come on. For a dentist appointment. Or there was another one that I sent to a friend of mine. She really likes broccoli. And there you go. A head of broccoli complaining about the weather. So I'm thinking like I think the prompts are the work of art in what's happening.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. If you're good at the prompts and you, that's the only thing the artist still has to do. But it doesn't make it easier for anyone to make something that is really good. And also it's the curation, is which images you present and which ones you don't.
I do, of course. But yeah. For example, this looks like the imaginary foundation, like the people that make these shirts like this. And I could be made by them. This is nice. But I don't know. But anyway, like I to be honest, I would challenge you on this, all right? Like to show you many of these photos, and like a bunch of photos.
Yeah.
And like mix them.
Yeah.
And then see if you can. Are you capable of?
Well, I am probably one of the persons that probably is 99% right when you do that.
Really?
Yeah, because
your model.
No.
Your model.
I know what many outputs do. I'm very trained at looking at all the stuff that comes out of these neural networks. So yeah, I'm probably the one you
You don't want to fuck with, okay.
But at the same time, I can make a grid with let's say 20 or 30 photographs, and I can make sure that almost no one will see what is real and what is not, or what is.
Yeah, but like, what about this? Would you be able like this is a like you would say this is definitely done by a machine?
Well, the thing is,
it's like a painting to me.
Yeah, once I would probably it's like deep fakes. If you presented deep fakes to me, and you said, is this a deep fake or not? Then I would be probably right in many cases. But if I saw it just on TV, then I wouldn't probably see it. So if you warn me beforehand that you're going to show me something that is either painted or AI, then the last one I would probably say AI.
So you would activate, okay? But if this
I would. The thing is, it won't trick me if I look very sharp and put my. But
okay. But if I was to like take you to a virtual space or maybe an exhibition where we print all these things and say, okay, can you tell me which is like, no, can you tell me like, what do you think around all this? Do you think you, okay, so the question that I have in mind is this, do you think there is a chance that you could be dumbstruck by one of these things if you didn't know that they were artificially created?
What do you mean that I think
like have the artistic experience?
Yeah, but I constantly have that. I constantly have that with stuff I make and also with stuff other people make. I'm very that's what I just tried to say, that for me it's past this point. It's past the point that I think, okay, this was clearly done by a computer. I like it, but it's not comparable to Da Vinci or Picasso, or I think that we're already past that point.
Okay.
And now it's just the people who work these systems, because they should be good too. If there's a lot of stuff is you see in demos, it's just made by tech nerds.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
As soon as they put some real artists on these things, yeah, then you'll
see wonders.
Definitely be amazed, yeah. And especially in abstract art or pseudo figurative art, which I try to make. Well, my focus point is trying to make something that if you see it, you think like, oh yeah, this is it. And then you look and then you don't recognize anything you see. But at the same time, your brain it's on the edge of recognition and completely like, what is this? So I call it, it's not my term, my phrase, pseudo figurative. And it's things that look figurative, but are in fact completely not. And especially if you examine them close, they can be just rubbish. They can be nothing. But still, because all these structures, these patterns are used, and I can give you a few examples. We should talk another date about more,
please. Can we continue this?
Sure.
Because
I find it very interesting too. So yeah.
Yeah, because because I was also thinking as you were talking, I'm like, wow, I would love to like put in writing what he's saying right now, because there is a lot of interesting stuff that came out. So yeah, so great.
Okay.
So I'll send you maybe we meet like every Friday with the thing that I'm doing
I'm not so much right now I'm not so much of a structured. No.
I'm saying if you wanted to participate to that seminar that I was telling you.
Okay. Oh, you meet.
It's normally around 7 on Fridays.
Okay.
So I can send you like a link, and then you tell me like, okay, I'm free this day. Or
Sure.
And then with us, maybe like later when you feel like talking a little more, we could continue this, because I would love to.
Where are you based at this point?
Italy, north of Italy, near Milan.
Ah, okay.
Near Milan. I'm among the other things I have I have a PhD in love poetry, and then a background as a philosophy kind of person. So and now I'm moving towards like data science and the computational creativity. This is really what I'm mesmerized by. I mean, this is my Medusa, like what really looks at me, and I.
Okay.
So yeah. So that's the kind of things that I'm doing right now. Okay. But I want to thank you for.
Thank you too. It has been a pleasure, and we should do this again.
We should see. Yeah. So see you soon. Right?
Okay.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.